Okay. Mr. Lang, how you doing? Oh my goodness, I don't want to have 3 months of Apple Plus. I wonder what it's called. Good morning. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there was a TV show in the UK called LOLO, and there was actually quite a posh British guy who played a police officer in France, and he would say "Good morning." That's how I. It's one of my favorite moments from the show, like just the way he would introduce himself. Okay. You're not having watermelon, bud? No, I'm not eating it yet. Come back later. That Jumpsy Pro 87. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. It's appreciate it. Okay. Um, let's get this started. So yesterday I was having some challenges towards the end of the stream, mainly caused by myself and caused by confusing interfaces. And this is a problem that I think is going to get worse with the introduction of Microsoft's patterns in .NET 9. So I am using the mediator library, and it seems that everybody and their uncle has an opinion on how to do mediator now. So the problem was I was doing add mediator in my actually over in the consumers over here. I was adding mediator. The problem is that end service, no, not end service was MassTransit has their own add mediator. They have their own mediator library in there. Coming in .NET 9 is Microsoft's mediator implementation, or at least interfaces. I don't know if it's an actual implementation yet, or more than an interface that you can adhere to. The mediator library I'm using uses source generators and actually creates an Microsoft extensions dependency injection mediator dependency, like in there, um, just to make it compatible. But yeah, I added MassTransit's version of mediator. And that's going to get more confusing with everyone having add mediator, which is another reason why my stuff is going to get confusing as well as I start to break out extension methods of things. So we will see. We will see. But anyway, what I wanted to validate is process planning item change. So here I want to receive this change, and I want to see a message appear in item change was not, no, I want to see, yes, I want to process this change, and I want to see a message appear in Rabbit MQ. Oh, dogs. If it can be chewed, it will be chewed. Where they got that from, I have no idea. Okay. So we need to start notifications consumers. I need to clarify this. Otherwise I'm going to keep getting confused. Receivers. And again, I'm just differentiating between consumers and receivers for the sake of my own sanity here. Okay, so we receive that message. So why don't I receive them the first time? Or was it just being impatient? There's all three. So what that should have produced, and that did not work. So it did work, it just didn't produce them. Send user inbox. Why didn't you work? Send async, message bus. Why didn't you work? So we're actually going to configure. We're going to configure the endpoint the same way over here. Oh, but we don't do a consumer there, do we? Yeah. Can't do that, can we? So that's meant to endpoint convention map. So let's see if we can do configure send to user inbox. That just does. So why didn't this work? We had this working. So why is this now not working? Bind send user inbox. Right back. Seems it's going to be a tricky day for dogs. Okay, so I need to figure out how to configure. Now, the only thing that's changed since I started this is the fact that I've set up a consumer against this. So MassTransit, configure sender. Configure endpoints. I mean, we are a producer. Send endpoint. Get send endpoint. I mean, configuration consumers, transports, middleware persistence. I'm not worried about persistence right now. We've got to get the service bus generally working before we worry about before we worry too much about anything else. Topology, integration, integrating and service bus logging. The concept of it integrating within service bus is amusing. Consumers. That's consumers. Producers. Like, really? Is this all there is? Documentation. That's it. bigger endpoints. Showing the configure endpoints is the preferred approach to configure receive endpoints. Right. One for each queue. Endpoint name format is receive endpoints. See, we're not send endpoint. To obtain a send endpoint from a send endpoint provider, we call this. But what's the send endpoint provider? Come on. Endpoint address. Get send endpoint. So MassTransit, create object. Get send endpoint. Right. The like the specifics of the whole scale out, those things are not something I necessarily want to worry about right now. When I get to testing this and trying to get some scale, like some load testing through this, then I can worry about refining my usage of it. It should support it no matter what. If it can be chewed, it will be chewed. Dear. Okay. That's what. So this worked first time and now is not working. So the idea is that we're mapping this, a message of this type to this endpoint. Now, on the receiver side of things, and this is the only thing that's changed, only this, we can we do receive endpoint, but that accepts a queue name. So this is already queue. That's why that would differ. But we're not doing a receive endpoint here. We're setting a send. So is there any other configuration required? I mean, configure the send pipeline. Add observers that will audit all published and sent messages, send them to the message audit. That we probably need later on. But okay, but there's nothing. There's nothing special here. So why is this not working? Okay, so we'll update the offsets again. Morning, Mojo. How you doing? Notifications receivers. So we start up the receiver. Which in this case is a nothing. Not even a blip. It clearly did it because it got the subscriptions. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Oh, let's not assume. Let's stop that running. Can't believe it's Wednesday already. I know. I wish it was Friday. Your week flying by. I could block my calendar 24/7. No, no. Please tell me that your day was not consumed with meetings. Hope you got stuff done instead of just discussion about how you're getting stuff done. I have an idea, and I think I'm right, but let's find out. So I might just have been wrong. Let's assume that I'm not getting in there, right? So let's go here, update that, right? Now let's run it again. The meetings about meetings are fun. Give everyone homework. Give everyone a job to do before the next meeting. There we go. That's why they're not sending. Because they're not subscribed. Not sending because I haven't subscribed to anything here. These 3 messages are not subscribed. So let's run the full stack again. This takes a while now. Oh, what are you erroring about? What do you not like? Oh, because I renamed it. Notifications receivers. If you give everyone homework before the next meeting, you'll know who's dedicated to getting through the meetings. And you just say, well, until everyone's done what they need to do, we'll not have another meeting. Then they'll realize how busy they need to be. Okay. Let's see if we can get this to work. So the problem is, I don't know what I'm subscribed to. Right? This will be a problem that will resolve itself as soon as I get past this part. Go into this one. Testing, planning out. Yeah. Pardon me, we click that. Subscribe to planning item. Let's click that. Let's click this. So we'll subscribe to this one. Well, we have a stand up at 10:30, which kind of ruins my flow because I'm a morning person. Yeah. My stand up's at 12:30 my time. And I've still got 5.5 hours after the stand up. Or 5 hours after the stand up normally. So it's 3 hours into my day. Talk about flow breaking. Yeah. Okay, so we've subscribed to this item. I don't think I have the code. No, I don't have the code. I just saw the code. Um, I'm pretty sure I'm not excluding myself right now because I don't want to. Oh no, I do. I do have me. Okay, so let's subscribe. Let's do this. Let's open another copy of the application. Let's go and find a user that's active. And we can do that by going here. I think Helen's active, but let's go find out. So generally the smell in here, the things that tell you the features you absolutely need are the things that you kind of see as you're trying to figure things out in the system, right? So that like, okay, I need to be able to go see the if the user's active. I need to be able to go and see if I'm subscribed to it, right? It's telling me that the application is lacking some actual behavior, right? Right. So I could have used that to determine, okay, yeah, they're active and verified, right? Uh, Jeffrey, actually, they didn't update. Oh, they did. This is the view side of it. So I didn't update them in the thing. Okay, so they are verified. Yeah. How's off? Well, I'm still mulling on the challenge of how do I do multi-tenant auth? Well, yeah, authorization. My standard used to be at 9:30, which was 4 hours into my workday, but with the way I chopped up my day, it still ended up being quite interruptive. Although, as much as I complain about it, the forced interruptions help quite a bit. I think stand-ups are useful in an environment where your teammates understand what you're doing and can carry on your work, right? So if there is a handover, if there's dependencies, if there's anything else, I think a stand-up is a very useful thing. If you are a group of people working independently and there is no overlap, there is no collaboration, you're just a group of people who are grouped under a banner, a stand-up is a useless thing. You're better just reporting to a manager every day about your status, and that can be done in an email. Um, and I think that's when you're definitely not an agile team, right? Because you're not a team, you're a collective. Okay, so we have this one. So we can sign in as. The reason I can use this table for sign in is that I know what the status is. The the ones that say true, I've verified. I probably just haven't published the update messages to get these in line. This is another indicator of my tool for um, deploying data is probably necessary. Because then if I fall out of sync for whatever reason, yeah. Um, Stand-ups weren't helpful, not very productive, but I would often be stuck in an analysis loop on whatever I was working on. So the forced interruption gave my brain some time to chew on it without me trying to force it into a specific direction. So when I looked at whatever I was working on again, it was pretty clear where to go next. Right. So you need a rubber duck. Right. um, I sit and watch a YouTube video or whatever and just distract myself for a bit or um yeah, those colleagues aren't playing any role than distracting you. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one. Okay, we'll log in as Andrew. So if we do Andrew at my.com, oh no, Andrew at my.com. Okay, so now we need to edit this one. So we'll assign that to Andrew. Why? Come on. Come on. Please tell me that I didn't. Dang it. Log out. I'm not going to do this on the stream. So the problem there is Andrew is not configured, is my bet. But yeah, I've added into a role. Oh, I do. That's bad. Okay. Andrew at my.com. It naps to sleep on it. I can't take naps. And at the break is to do exercise. It's definitely a good revitalization to keep myself engaged while I work. Not a bad idea. Okay, so can I now assign this? Really? 403 forbidden? Why? Why, Andrew? Why? Can I subscribe? No, I'm completely forbidden from doing stuff. Well, guess I curse myself for this one. Let's have a look and make sure his token is actually edit value. Copy that. GWT.io. It's funny. It actually pulled it out. Nice. Hmm. That's right. Now the problem is on the other side. When I go to do planning endpoints, planning items, put this is the update. I require support user policy. Support user. Policies, support user. Support user is create tickets, list tickets, read tickets. I don't have create tickets, list tickets, read. Yeah. I usually have a hard time napping. My meds are out of stock, so I'm perpetually tired. I'm perpetually tired from sleep apnea. Sleeping is not something I like doing. Read ticket, list ticket, delete tickets. There we go. Those permissions were not embedded in a role. That was the problem. So now if I log out of here, So, yay, permissions works. Um, uh, okay, we should have a better piece of luck now. Now it's assigned to Andrew. Yes. Okay. So the big challenge with doing this sort of system is I'm going to end up with um, pieces of data all over the place, and I'm not going to know when it's going to arrive. So it's sometimes really difficult to know what to look at when, right? Because that change should trigger several things happening, right? It should go through, yeah, so 9 seconds ago, we got the planning item, right? So there's the planning item. It published the integration event, which means it's saved and published. If we refresh, changes should eventually publish. There you go, 2 seconds ago, a change published, right? That published that the assigned user has changed. That's awesome. That's exactly what it should happen. Now that should be that should be consumed, and the send user inbox should receive a message, right? It looks like it did. And then the command should be sent to the view, and the inbox should get updated. There we go. We have an inbox message. So it's not easy because there's a lot of disconnected pieces, but when you set it up correctly, it works. So what we just witnessed was message API planning. Planning produced an event that changes subscribed to, because it got the integration event. Changes subscribed to, the view subscribed to. Um, that then triggered, the changes then triggered a calculated change, which the notification system consumed. And then it published a command, or sent a command to the view system to say, oh, by the way, here's an inbox message, right? So yeah, that was a lot of moving parts, but we now have an inbox message. So we know that this piece works. Now the fun part. He says, um, I had to add multiple active result sets on this because actually you could get, I did have to dedupe on the view receiver, um, receiving messages. I refactored these as well, acquiring entities, receiving messages. This inbox message, I actually had to check to see if I have this message already, because what was happening is when I unleashed, the retries fired, and it tried to insert these same messages over and over and over again. So that was a challenge, because I tried to run it so many times and it had errored. Trying to read from the queue, it actually put them in an error state and kept trying to send them. So I get all the messages plus the retries. But again, that's the sort of thing that we'll learn more about as we grow. Hi TBD, it's been a while. Sorry for not coming in the stream so much. Shy, hello. No worries. Hope you're well. As I appreciate it. We are working on my platform stuff today. I'm working on getting a list of messages to appear. So we just got our first actual message through the system to tell us that something changed. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So it's Wednesday. TV connection, view, location. Okay, inbox message. Um, changed ID on inbox message. Too long. Int. Label. It's big int. Let's just clean up. I finally have a meeting with the job coach next Thursday. Next Thursday or Tuesday? So excited to finally talk about how hard it is for me to find a job. That's an awesome step forward. I mean, having someone to discuss with and be able to, I would hope, give you some, being their job coach, give you some guidance on the steps to take and how you might go about it. Um, Tuesday. Okay. Um, no H in Tuesday. That's why. Okay. You put an H in there and there's no H. Yeah. Sorry. Um, yeah. So next Tuesday. That's awesome. But to have someone to talk to. Yeah. Tuesday. Yeah. Is that a crossover in the languages? All good. But regardless, I think that's awesome that you've got someone to speak to. And, you know, hopefully they can come up with some productive advice and give you some guidance on how to proceed. Because that's, yeah. Actually, that's more, yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah. That's a good positive step forward for you, I think. Use constant for planning item. Pardon me. In subscription. Okay. Now the hard part. I have, by the way, taken the approach of as I go through this application, if I need to do NuGet package updates, I update everything and just accept that I'm going to be testing it bit by bit by bit. So if I find a bug later on, it's a bit of an irresponsible path because I might not find that issue until much later. But I'd rather find it. I might not have found it anyway, regardless. So I'm just making sure I try and keep the NuGet packages up to date. Um, I know I'm going to ask her to help me reduce the stress by taking over the applying and calling. We did it before, so I don't think she'll mind that. At least I tried, but I can't handle it. Yeah, if she can give you some like um get you the actual jobs that you might be able to apply for. Um, so I find the actual interview though mostly because they offer you a drink and then I can focus on the drink once in a while. Yeah, yeah. I still get very nervous. I mean, I don't have I wouldn't say I have anxiety necessarily in those situations, but I do get very nervous about interviews still. Um, putting my best foot forward, um, being confident is very hard. Morning, Patrick. How you doing? So, so yeah, but you'll get there. The stress is too much now, and it's taking a toll on my mental health, and that also influences the physical. Yeah, I can see that. I can understand that. Uh, so, but like you said, you've got someone to help. Um, just keep trying and growing. That's all you can do. Okay, so we have that. Oh, that's GraphQL. So we have the view. The view is a GraphQL API, right? So in here, when um, we want this data, we need to add an endpoint in here, a piece in here. We're going to authorize it. We're going to use projection. This gives us the ability to adaptable SQL queries because we're actually going to use a, a view to build this off of. She sounds like an understanding person. If I do my story, I'm sure she'll help me out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not that you don't want to work; it's that it's a struggle for you to get to that point. And you just need that help to get there. Okay. Um, so the way this application breaks down is there's two contexts: the update and the view. The view is literally I create a view that provides the data I need. So we're going to start over there in the database, right? So we have an inbox. I forget the keyboard shortcuts. It's like Command Shift L on the Mac in Data Grip, and then Control and Alt Shift Q or Control Shift, yeah, Control Shift Q on Windows or Control, yeah, different keyboards. Um, Everyone sees them at this point, desperate to work. Yeah, so you'll get that though. You'll get that. Someone that's supportive. That's good. Okay, so these are in bots. So we need. So what I do um, in the GraphQL layer is I expose the data. I expose the DB context, and the reason I do that is because it gives me the most adaptability over the query. And by providing views, I'm not doing any data updates, but I provide because GraphQL works best when it can flex, right? I think. And the only way that this does this with the entity framework is if I expose the DB context right at the entry point, right? Doesn't necessarily feel natural, but it means that I don't have to do any of the adaptation of that query. If I want to use GraphQL query and filtering, I could use GraphQL filtering and whatnot, and it works well. So the only challenge is I need to create views to make sure that I don't just expose the table structure. I could still expose the table structure, but it would take more. So here I can combine the view and make it work. Which I'm still going to say again that I'm really desperate for a job. I did drop the idea of doing customer service. People just get rude so easy in that kind of job. I mean, you're still holding on to wanting to do development, right? That's what you'd like to do. Or is that kind of something? I mean, I know that you've got to get a job. I know that that's the primary focus, but finding a company that would give you a development role, a junior developer role, would be probably your ideal, right? Customer service is a stressful thing as well. Not just about the rudeness. So we're going to do inbox I join users u on I dot send users sender on I dot sender ID equals I dot uh, uh, sender ID. I would love development, but I think I have to start with administrative stuff. If you find the right company, I don't think that's necessarily true. Recipient. I think you could find the right place. But yeah. Now this is where this gets tough because we now have a dynamic join. Still look around for development in the meantime, but right now it's more important to have a stable job. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think you have to start anywhere though. I think you could get a development role. It's just finding that right company and being able to present your skills. And I think again, this person might be the one able to demonstrate how to do that for you. So we have inbox. Let's do ID, sender name is sender. Actually, we don't need sender ID, sender ID. You know, if I want to play some more bingo before I go into it. No worries, Shy. Thank you very much, and I really hope it goes well. And you don't speak again before. Uh, that's how it goes. It helps us start up in human resources. Then I did a bunch of automation using VBA for Office, and eventually got to do actual software dev on the HR applications. Nice. That's an interesting path. That's recipient, not receiver. So what I'm doing there is I'm actually masking the I'm actually masking the underlying data. I'm not exposing those IDs; they're internal to the tables. I'm just exposing the information I need. Now here comes the hard part because this becomes difficult. I dot entity type equals planning item. Then so we need entity type because we're going to display different things in there. But I want to display a title. What is Liquid Sky? The Sky. Hi, Bell usable. So Liquid Sky, apart from being a movie from the 80s that I've since learned about since starting this project under that name, is a project management and planning tool that I'm building from the ground up for aiding in requirements gathering and delivery of software. In case coffee break, okay for a bit. No worries, one line. Enjoy the coffee. So this is going to get a little bit difficult. So, yeah, barely usable. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, you know, there's a lot of technology involved. I'm happy to talk about it, but it's I'm more than happy to go into it more. Join planning items, left join planning items. Well, I mean, I think One Lion's point was more the encouragement of um it's not necessarily there's not always a direct path into software development. You know, mine was lucky I got into software development to start with, whereas some people like One Lion don't necessarily start off in there but show that aptitude. So it might be that you find an office job and it's tech. So yeah, it's more, you know, don't you know, just keep on trying. Basically, I can never do HR. I don't know you well, Patrick, but I can definitely understand why. I've taken it too literally. That's all good. You don't have to apologize. Yeah, it's just that motivation. Don't give up on it. You know, you can get there. There's all sorts of ways to get there. On I.entity type. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to do a kind of conditional join and pi dot identifier equals I dot entity identifier. Now, I could join this automatically now. I don't have to do this way, but this will at least allow me to expand this when I get to other types and see how I intended to do it back then. I also didn't start in software development. Got the title last year and transitioned from sales support. When I was a restaurant manager, my managerial policy was the customer is usually wrong and I don't negotiate. So I see no reason to modify that attitude much as an HR person either. Oh dear. I bet you were a challenging manager in that role, not in that's funny. Um Title. So the intention is here that what we do is we display something as the title. Um and the body will just work out after the body will just be we've changed something, right? So this will be there you go. And this is just to indicate to the client this is going to work this way. So we now have enough information. So there's our view, essentially, for right this second. So we create a view. This will be the inbox view. I'm explicitly calling it view here, but it's then the code is that. There you go. Copy that. I'll stop using that word in the stream. You never know how Twitch is going to react to stuff like that. I'm surprised that Twitch doesn't actually do something about it. I don't. Yeah, just the exact point of the conversation is the fact that I'm scared of that word. HR reasons. View views. So we do have view views, but that's okay. Add 006. This is inbox messages. That's equal. No, we need to script it. Not script. Generate DDL. There we go. There's our table, our view. And then we go and create a new model. So this, what I've been doing is in the view, I've actually created an inbox message. I've created the alternate version of this, right? It's the same but different, right? Because to the view, this is different data. And right, so this is public period identifier, public period sender identifier, public period sender. No, Let's use our brains. String. First name Mohammed. Sender, public, period, recipient, via. I don't know. Don't need to upset the Twitch. Also, yesterday I was using my AWS account and I ran a process and it kind of went crazy and ran tens of thousands of Lambda expressions. And it's when I was kind of keeping my fingers crossed that um, the the notification stuff and the caps that I've put on the account would actually kick in if there was any problems. Um, uh, Luckily, I got alerted to the fact that I cost myself 50 cents this morning. Bullet string title. So we're going to use title to kind of say item XYZ has the item title has changed. Right, so we're going to indicate that the planning item, who it was changed by, and who we know who it's for actually. So this is us. Because what we're going to do here is we're going to actually filter this down to for this user by in the view. But I don't want to make the view specific. I definitely don't want to create store procs here. What we could potentially do is add some indexes on the recipient. Actually, that's probably a good idea. Let's do that. Modify view. Can you add index? You can. I thought you could create index views. I thought you could create an index. Modify column. Oh. I thought you could create an index on a view, but never mind. Maybe that's a different SQL. I mean, there's indexes on the underlying ones, so on the underlying column, so I assume that they pick that up. Okay, so we have an inbox message. Now we go to the infrastructure part, and we go to this view, and we create a planning. Yes, I did just have a alphabet song in my head. So this inbox message is the view version of that message, right? It's not the, so it's this one, which is good. And now we go to the front end side and we do get planning items, get users. I mean, technically, if I'm trying to do this alphabetically, actually, let's try something. Let's do add query dot inbox.cs partial query. There we go. There's something specific about this, and I'm not entirely certain, but yeah, at least this allows me to organize that a bit more. So we're going to authorize that, and we're going to do, it knows it's in the same, so I'm just going to comment that out for a second. Public task, iQueryable. And yeah, I expose the view version of the entity here, right? Right. I just expose that straight through, and it works. Get inbox. Then we inject our DB context service, view DB context. Our claims principal is because we need the user, and that will give us that. Task from result context.inbox. It's almost exactly the same thing. I goes to I dot recipient identifier equals user dot get user identifier dot as queryable. Okay. So yeah, if you're new to the stream, if you have any questions about what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to ask. Right now, I'm trying to get this user inbox working. So what we'll do now is we'll start the GraphQL API up. We will start Banana Cake Pop, which probably has an update and won't work. Schema fetching failed. That's because I don't have the token authentication. Format. Wrong one. All's healthier. Morning, Miss Runhorn. How are you doing? How are you doing? It's going well for me. I think I'm about to try and get this inbox displaying, so that should be good. We should be able to fetch the schema now at least. There you go. Let's do a new document. And this is get inbox, and this is query inbox. Sender identifier, title, and entity type. It's got to work. I catch you all. Hopefully I finish this swap implementation today. No worries, Mojo. Have a great day. And yeah, best of luck with figuring that out. So this is because the view requires a primary key, right? So we need to just add a configuration. Good, just had to rip out the TSAST pass from my code generator. It's too old. I'm not going to write my own AST pass in C# for TypeScript. I did find a good Node.js replacement, way performant. Nice. Nice. There's a lot of acronyms in there. Inbox, message, view configuration. Actually, inbox view configuration. I know it's inbox message. It's just inbox message because that's the model we can. Yeah, still not 1 over. It's actually weird having that situation where I actually do have a builder dot as key goes to a dot identifier. I'm going to stream it since the JS that it produces is simple and has all I need. Might be fun to watch me implement. Nice. Yeah, I hope I get to catch that. You tend to stream like when I'm about to go, or no, when I'm at karate, or I've only just got back from karate and you're almost finished. Okay, so let's test that again. So that should be all I need because the configuration is there now, and then the view is working. Then I'm going to do a refactoring to add those other things into partial classes. No. What don't we like? Cannot use table inbox for entity type inbox message since it's been used for entity. Why do I not need? Oh, because it doesn't match. That's why. Builder dot to view inbox. Oh yeah, okay, that works. Yeah, my schedule is erratic to say the least. I already did two of the abstractions, so I'm hoping it's just change the JSON model for the AST and update the mappings. Make it nice and easy, I suppose. Or relatively. Third time's a charm. Invalid column recipient identifier. That would be valid. That would be valid. Being that column ID. Modify view. Helps if you actually do the modify. 300 test. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty pretty solid coverage. Script generated. Hey Connie, how you doing? Good day. Reviews in bots. Horrible and happy at the same time. I just submitted my jam entry. Nice. 24 hours is horrible. Oh, for the jam entry? I mean, you're a perfectionist. Invalid column name, recipient identifier. Beg to differ. Is it procrastination or is it lack of attention? I mean, I mean, focused in economy. Ah, isn't that why jams were originally created to kind of create things in a pressure cooker? Beg to differ, that column isn't there. Recipient identifier. Recipient identifier. Invalid column name, recipient identifier. Invalid column name, sender identifier. Invalid column name, title. I beg to differ. It's in. So it pulls that schema from the model that it's going to produce. So the only way that doesn't line up is if it doesn't line up with a view. Identifier, sender, recipient, title, entity type. And then we assume can give it a try. Absolutely. Nice. Well, I will give that a try afterwards. Yeah. The games are very creative. Okay, so what the heck? So my best guess is that I've lined this up to the wrong model. So we have the ViewDB context. That's that model. Let's go in here. That's that model. That's that context. Magnetonics, how you doing? Good morning. Recipient identifier. How can this actually be true? Inbox view. Oh, oh, I'm an idiot. In this case, I'm an idiot. Pretty good. Got a busy day at work, so I'll have to leave soon now. No worries. Busy days are well understood. Appreciate just coming in and saying hello. It is the challenge when you're trying to juggle. Well, right now I'm just trying to juggle everything, right? But I've got two perspectives of the same thing, right? I've got the view perspective and the actual table model. When I mapped that, then I just mapped it to the table. So recipient identifier genuinely was missing because I wasn't actually pointing at I wasn't pointing at the inbox view. I was pointing at the inbox, and that doesn't have that. Okay, so that's challenging. Not really, because that's correct. I am me. I am me. You are you. If we do this, this will work better. So that's valid. I just validated that as the user who sent it, I should not see the message, right? That was a good test case. not that I completely forgot who I was logging in as. And there we go. Send to Andrew. Test planning items, project entity. There we go. So we have a GraphQL API there working. Nice. I got new toys yesterday. I got for the Switch. I got the NES controllers for the Switch Online stuff. So they attach to the actual Switch as NES controller. I got the Nintendo World Championship game, which is pretty cool. I had to get the classic Nintendo controllers for the Switch. I just had to get. So that was I think it was mandated. Okay, so landing page, views, registration, modules, settings, planning. So here's the dashboard, right? This is where we're going to put our messages. They actually attach. I never knew that. That's pretty funny. Yeah, they actually do go. The little no, it won't. It'll just blank out because somehow it determines that that's interesting. It knows the difference between a box. Yeah, that's good. I can make myself disappear by just putting a little box in front of me. Sorry, just amused by the camera. But yeah, they do attach to the side of the Switch, which is cool. Um, okay, so I think we decided we be me, obviously, because didn't open this one up. But look at mobbing. Look at my saved. Show all. This is kind of what I want to produce, right? I want to produce a red. That's another thing we need on there, isn't it? Modify the view. Is red. I dot date. If I dot red date. 0, 1. Is that valid? No. Oh, because it's a default, isn't it? Yeah. So just don't want the replacement value. How do I do that? I recently remapped my caps lock to escape. It's crazy how much I changed my workflows already. I can see that. Huh. Why am I having a dense moment on case? What's a null if? What is null if? Returns null if the two are equal. Nice. If I dot date red. Uh, 1, 0. Kind of want is red rather than that. I never use it, and I've seen it stated in a blog post, and I tried it. My Vim motions changed so much. I guess I after each insert. Vim. Yeah. As you said it, I kind of just looked at the key and thought, yeah, it's pretty unused. Um, Especially non-Boolean type specified contour. Um, but the problem is I don't want that. I suppose I want that. If it's null, then it's 1, in which case it's 1. That just reads wrong. No, it doesn't like that either. No, I'm just thinking I'm just dense. And now I just fat fingered the escape key instead of putting my whole machine into shell. Nice. So that's a good plot. The only challenge when, if I mean, if you're working in an office and you do pairing at all, always consider your keyboard layout. One of the challenges to pairing. I mean, you should go to each of the computers, but if you swap, that's definitely a challenge. Um, um, is null I dot date red. Um, if it's null, that's going to return is red. Not that. Red. No, I don't want I don't want that. That's a coalesce essentially. Case when I dot date red is null, then uh, 0 else 1 end as. That's better. That's what I want. Just like it could be condensed. Yeah, case can. Okay, it's just that. Okay, that makes sense. My apologies. Having a bad SQL day, it seems. Script generate. Oh, why that took me so long. I've written that sort of stuff. Right, I try and keep it vanilla, and since I use power toys to remap, I can easily turn it off. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't have to worry about it, working from home. But if I was to work in an office again with a team, I'd want to pair. And it's not always like just switch desks, right? So yeah, if you're in an environment and you want to work the way you want to work, then you have to accommodate other people. Okay. Uh, Resisting the urge to try Canny's game. I want to do this. Yes, I want to do this. So I'm looking to build something like that. So let's go. Uh, this isn't going to be. This is going to be Tailwind more than. You have a feed. Feeds. There we go. Multiple items, simple with icons. It's not really a timeline though. Economy. Inbox. Messages. Data display, description lists, stat lists. Yeah, it's more like that. With badges. Looking at a white screen really shows you how dirty your screen's got. I need to clean the screen. There's a smear right to the left of the screen, and it's driving me crazy. Okay, we go narrow, narrow, narrow. We truncate. We don't. I mean, ultimately, I'm going to make this a panel, so it's going to use this style anyway. So let's do that. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's run. So to get GraphQL up and running, we need the bare minimum to be able to query, we need the GraphQL API and the API gateway because everything goes through the API gateway. Nothing directly communicates with the backend now. It's all through the gateway. Okay. Also, I posted in the announcements there'll be no stream on Friday as I have a doctor's appointment at 8 o'clock, right in the middle of the stream. So, but Monday will be a longer stream as well. See, it's a day off work. Here. So I'm going to paste that in there. Go back over here. Nope, here. Okay. I'll see how many copies of Angular we can get showing things. So, right idea, wrong design. Let's get that limited. Let's get define define this explicitly is redundant. It should be avoided. So that it's an implicit list. So what's the point of the role? Either way, that's wrong because I want to do. We need So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this off screen so it refreshes and I see it, but I'm not going to keep flashing back and forth because that's just frustrating. We need to go and find planning detail, planning item table, use planning items. Planning item detail has this ng style on it. That's what I'm after. So dashboard. Okay. That's a little better. Actually, div. So I kind of want this in a card of sorts. H3 inbox. Div class equals P5. PT2. Okay. The challenge I have with this sort of design is I need to see it and do it, and the amount of stuff on screen is just ridiculous. So remove that. Did I not? I bet I didn't, did I? The piece of information I didn't include in this was the received. So okay. Now you're annoying me. It's included inside of DataGrip because it's included as a plugin in Rider and WebStorm and WebStorm. I don't need it in there. I think I can do there you go. Control Alt Shift O on and off. Let's do I dot date. Now I probably want date sent in here, right? Rather than yeah, date sent is probably good. Okay, what's that? Of course, I'm kind of procrastinating on the actual layout, on the actual getting the data, because you know why would I actually? So that will give me nothing. What's the point in the daytime then? So this is going to be text. White. I'm not going to allow for my light dark mode switch at this point. That's an entire different pass that I'll have to do because again, if I do that, it's going to wipe it out. But I'm not going to panic about that right a second. Text. Actually, that would be the title, wouldn't it? I actually don't need this. This would be planning item updated. Back over to here. So they put outside that div. Okay. The item title dated by user Bob. So the idea here that you'd actually pull in the changes and then you click on this and then go through and view the changes. You wouldn't actually see the list of changes in here. Whether that's a good idea or not, I don't know. Okay, TBD, before I pop out, I forgot to mention last night that it has multiplayer. Nice. Nice. You're gonna get me hooked on that game. So Patrick is, I'll say, a variety streamer. Last night he was playing Astroneer and building computers and things in Astroneer, and it looked very fascinating. And if I wasn't so tired, I would have been able to pay a lot more attention. And yeah, but you're gonna, I'm gonna try that game out now as well. That might be on my list of weekend games. Mark in the Cloud, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome in. If you have any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to join in. The stream is hello. Stream is interactive. Napalm, good morning. Yeah, no, it's definitely recommended. Yeah, it's it looked like a fun game, actually. So I will I'll give it a try out. I don't think I'll be building any tic-tac-toe computers, but or more complicated machines. That was really fascinating to see. Okay, so what we're doing today is we are trying to get inbox messages down onto the client. I have been building out this functionality for the last couple of weeks. No sneeze. Apologies for that. So we have the inbox message. It hops around a bit. We have a bit of a distributed system going on here. So, the client, when a client changes something, we have changes, it triggers notifications, produces an inbox message for the users that care, that subscribe to that thing. And now we're going to get the view. No, no, no. It's a little bit more involved. So what I'm building is I'm building an application, think Jira. Did I even start? Yeah, I started the gateway. Okay, so everything's up and running on that side. I'm building a project planning and management tool, it, with the aim of solving the problems that I have with Jira, if only for my own purposes, right? So this is Liquid Sky. Right now we're focusing on the planning aspect of things. So what I want to do is break out. So whereas we traditionally have ticketing and then stories, I want to put planning in between it as an actual concept. That things can flow through. So you can actually have tickets that become planning items that become stories. And the idea here is very much one of trying to gather requirements and build up what should be a story as kind of a dream item before it actually gets put into the context of here's the work that's to be done. So right now, focused on being able to collect the description of the planning item, and this review date concept is mandatory. It basically is in replacement of them ordering things. It's basically, this is a reminder, you need to look at this and do something with it. And when you come into this screen, you are presented with past due, current, and upcoming. Ideally, you don't have a past due list. These are things that need to be addressed, and the goal is to very much make it about alerting people to these things before they become stories, so people can see the work that's actually planned and agreed to is in the actual development backlog, and the work that's still a concept or a dream is not anywhere near development, so you don't blur the lines. And here, this isn't assigned to a single project necessarily. It's assigned to the projects that the product manager thinks that it needs to be assigned to. So we're building this for a couple of months, 10. And what I've been working on recently is the ability for notifications. So I can come in here, and right now I can click this icon. And what that will do is that will, if it was all hooked up, I've got pieces disabled right now, but what it would do is it would subscribe to this thing so that when changes came around for it, it would tell me about them. And that's what's just broken that. So right now I'm working on that inbox. So getting those messages to display. So there's a lot of technology in play. We have some Kafka, some MassTransit with RabbitMQ for service bus. There's GraphQL. There's a GraphQL API serving up the view side of things. We're going to have GraphQL subscriptions for the notifications down to the client. So this phase one is just this the screen, but then be able to update this automatically as the user pushes more notifications, so we don't have to have too many calls. So yeah, that is that. So let's go get some data. So the idea of the stream is I'm sharing the development on the stream. more than welcome to ask questions. I'm more than happy to divert and show specific components. The code is not open source. This is a large project at this point. This is a 69 project Visual Studio solution at this point, or solution. So there's a lot of moving parts, there's a lot of pieces. So I'm happy to go through them, happy to talk about them. I'm happy to debate the design if people see things that I am off on, because I've got some experience, but there's parts that I've not done before. I'm happy to dig in and show more. So feel free if you have any questions. What I'm contemplating right now is, I think this is the planning module. I think I'm impressed how much you put into this as a side hustle. Seriously, kudos to you, man. Thank you, Nepal. I appreciate it. I think for me, I have a genuine care about doing this. I want to build this. I think it can be a thing. But it's also it's also kind of allowing me to implement things that I've dreamt up but not had the time or opportunity to actually do in an organization. I think it's proving out the concepts. So it keeps me driving forward, that's for certain. Okay, so we have, what I'm debating is, do I put this a software engineering day job? Yeah. Yep. It's very move, that's sure. Nice. I hope it can do. Yeah, I've been a dev for 25 years professionally. I've worked in .NET for most of that. Um, I built mobile and desktop software, web software. So this is kind of a culmination of lots of different projects and ideas that have come to me over the years. I'm sorry if you already answered this specifically and I didn't hear it, but how is this roughly different to the end solutions already there for Scrum, task management in software teams? Not saying there has to be difference, just asking. No, I appreciate the question. And it might not be, right? I haven't had the chance to do a vast amount of research, other than over 10 years of using Jira at this point, and Trello and other tools. The things that I consider this to set it aside from other things that I've seen and experienced is it's this focus on review date, right? And the communications within the system. So oftentimes, again, from what I've experienced, is the job of figuring out what we're doing and where we are with things lands on the development teams. It lands on the, where are we this story? Where's this story? Is this story deployed? Is this story, where is this thing? Have we talked about this thing yet? Right? I've had so much of my career wasted with those sorts of meetings where management and even PMs, which is kind of shameful, have been wondering what the status of things is. So what I'm trying to introduce is a level of accountability for the PMs, right? A stepped improvement to the requirements gathering process. We often get stories that are ill thought out or they're rushed through and we don't have enough requirements. We don't ask enough questions. So the idea of this is the PM can come into the screen and can create a new planning item and kind of describe their dream of what they want to have happen. They can attach images, they can attach which projects they think it should be assigned to. They can attach these requirements, right? I can't make it. I'd have to start the entire stack to get this to work, but so I'm just going to point. So you can add these requirements. These requirements right now are just these simple text lines, but the intention of these is to be actual, more full featured and have attachments on them, right? So, the review date is not an optional thing. It's a mandatory piece of information, and that says, okay, well, I'll review this next month, right? So I've got some information, I've reviewed it. The management teams can subscribe to being told about things changing in the system. So if they want to subscribe to new planning items being added on the planning project, they'll be notified of that, and they'll be able to configure how they get notified, whether it be a daily digest email, whether it be a push notification, and right now, whether it be the inbox that we have. Some things are going wrong. Some data is going wrong there, or whether it be this inbox. So to me, the difference is I'm trying to take the load off the developers from having to worry about that. They can focus on development. So the stories that get moved through to the backlog are actually stories that have been vetted and the development team have agreed to. They're not just made up items that are, you know, um, on the whim of someone, or they're just sat there because it's technical debt, etc. So the idea of this is to really try and drill through those requirements and make more people accountable for them. I've tried a few with different companies, and they always feel like something is missing. And you try the next one, and it feels like it's better, but it's probably missing something else. You figure out down the road, and the cycle continues. I've worked with Trello, Jira, ClickUp so far. I think there's more, but I can't remember the names. We're currently using ClickUp, but the PM has been trying to Linaria because of all the shortcomings of ClickUp. So I guess Linaria may be next. And I think for me, the development process is the more important part. So what I'm trying to do is make it so that developers don't actually have to be involved in most of this, right? And this is where we often fall. And the fact that the PM is trying to find different software is where we often fall, because they are either not given the tools to gather requirements, or not given, things move all the time. What I want is for this to just produce. So the idea would be they'll be able to click on this and say, okay, well, these requirements, this is a story and this is a story. The developers agree upon that. And be able to say, we can meet this requirement. And these two requirements are one story. The third requirement is an extra story. This goes to this team. This goes to this team. Be able to do that without it actually being part of the backlog. So the backlog and the actual workboard is work that can and will be done. Again, review dates will attach. So if a piece of work sits in that backlog for too long, it will tell people, oh, I've sat here for too long. Or when it does get pulled through, it will tell people I've moved. So you don't have to get chased on where are we with this thing. You will be notified, and you'll be able to get a daily summary of where it is or whatever. So I'm trying to focus on this visibility aspect of it. And that's the biggest problem. So most of the tools for Jira, etc., that they're management tools. They are not development tools, but they often land on the laps of the developers, which means we get pulled into more meetings and more cycles of being interrupted to find out where project X is and where project Y is. I'm not going to solve it. We're human beings. We're going to keep breaking things, but this is my attempt at it, right? And whether this becomes something or not, I consider this to be a project I have learned a lot from and have grown a lot from. So if it becomes something, that's awesome. And there are people in the stream that have expressed this would actually be pretty useful the way you're doing it. So, when I get to the testing perspective, I'm all for someone figuring this out. And I don't think I'll figure it all out, right? I'm not arrogant enough to believe I'll solve all the problems, because when I solve a problem, we'll introduce more problems, right? But we need to get the process to be, we need to push the process back away from software. It's the planning and gathering of information that's the most important part, and people understanding where things are to provide that visibility. once we've got good requirements, software can proceed in a more agile manner and be focused on, right? And not have, because again, backlogs get clouded up with all the stuff, all the detritus of dreamt up ideas and failed projects. If the project sits here until it's ready and then gets all the stories created when it's all kind of collected, then there's a separation. So yeah, it's amazing. I'm at a bigger med tech company than my past one I was at for 7 years. I expected maturity to be better where I am, and it's not. No one ever checks all the boxes. No, no. And the more people involved, the more process we seem to want to add, and the more challenges we seem to face in doing so. We're human beings. There's no perfect, but we can try. And my approach to this is, I'm doing it on stream. If someone wants to go and rip off my idea, knock yourselves out, right? If this works and it actually helps people, and say, Jira tomorrow introduces this concept of mandatory review dates and this cycle of, because as far as I'm aware, the configuration for notifications in Jira is pretty terrible. And I've seen Jira backlogs of hundreds of items. That's what scares me the most, the hundreds of items. I just want to make sure that people are being told, oh, here's where we actually are with the status of things. Because again, with some tracking, things like this tab is for initiatives. The idea will be planning items could be put under initiatives, and initiatives have review dates as well. So they all kind of bundle up and allow them to see the actual status of things overall. So, when we have kind of traffic light systems for initiatives, like are we good on this initiative? Are we bad? If there's no stories produced for an initiative and it's due next week, I think we're bad, right? If there's no progress made on stories, we're bad. We can actually do dashboards off of that information just by using review dates and analysis of where we are, where the projects and storylines are. So without actually having to ask anyone or make someone make a spreadsheet, which is the worst possible outcome. So that's what most people do. They have a tool like Jira or whatever, and then spreadsheets start getting created to kind of introduce some sort of visibility, because Jira dashboards and reporting are too confusing. So the problem is this module, this is a shared asset. This store is a shared asset. So we're going to add a new, I always said if I had a company, I'd greatly limit use of Excel and our access. Again, I think the problem comes into visibility. Oftentimes we're doing that because someone's like, oh, where are we with this thing? Where are we with this thing? Where are we with this thing? And it trickles down, right? If the developers are working on 3 different things and the PM's not quite sure where we are with the status of things, the daily stand-up is meant to give you the idea of where we are. But it kind of gets lost. And so they have to create something to track that, because they don't actually know how to read the board that they're looking at necessarily, because we don't want to change that. We kind of put process in place on top of it, which hurts us, right? So to me, there's only 3 states. Well, 4 if you include the backlog, right? Have we started anything yet? Are we planning on starting anything yet? Have we started anything yet? And have we done with it from our perspective, right? I actually think that QA, etc., should be another cycle. So when an item goes through the planning phase, gets created, it becomes stories. Those stories get moved into a sprint. That sprint has 3 columns, not yet started, in progress, and done. When it hits done, it cycles out and goes to a QA group, and they start that process all over again, right? So they have work to be QA'd, and visibility, if we approach it from that perspective, the visibility increases because we know where things are. When we try and combine everything into one board and make everyone's jobs fit inside of this board, we end up with a mess. We kind of size, oh, well, we'll size it based upon the QA effort. Well, the development effort hasn't been started. So how are we sizing QA effort, being that we don't know all the development pieces, right? What if we change? We fail to embrace that agility when we say, oh, we're going to point it based upon that, and then the company's attaching time to those points. It becomes ever more challenging. So if we simplify it, make it more streamlined, we can smooth those things out. My last place had that Excel issue. All the devs are working in Jira, but then the PMs have duplicated all the projects into Excel sheets, and then they need to keep your own Excel sheets in sync with what's going on in Jira. Exactly. So then it becomes oh, well, can I get an update on this, or where's this thing? So we introduce more process to fix a problem that we could have dealt with by simplifying things. My current project has hundreds of backlog Jira items, 2 spreadsheets tracking status, and a Word doc with status for senior management. I have to explain where we're at 1 to 2 times a week to the PM that doesn't attend stand-up. Our team is just tired at this point. Aidan, welcome into the stream. Thank you for that addition. I am sorry. This is the problem I am trying to solve. Whether I will or not is another thing, but people like yourselves, people who can bring their own experiences to this and tell me if I'm going off track, if I'm adding too much complexity, if it doesn't make sense. Right now, the reality of this is I'm building this. I'm a developer, not a PM. Right. So at some point, I'm going to have to get PMs to kind of come in and look at this with me to see if it will help. But right now, my goal is to take the load off the developers. I think I'm on track so far with what we've got. Yeah, but you kind of, again, the both of you, well, all three of you right now, you're saying the same sort of stuff, right? There's the management aspect of this job is the hard part of this job, and it's not anything that most developers sign up for. And we keep failing to embrace that agility because we can't get past the process. And if you look at the Agile Manifesto, the tools that we use should not be in the way of what we're doing. And they often are. So yeah, I'm trying to take that load off. I'm trying to say, okay, well, this review date is mandatory. You have to specify it. So basically, if the PM goes in here, and I can't do it right now because, again, I've got to stop 11 projects and on all sorts of stuff. If the PM goes in here and says, okay, well, let's move this to next week because we can actually review it next week, then someone will get a notification if they care, right? And that'll be a big part of the process, is figuring out how to make that a very simple and convenient piece. What I want to be able to say is, okay, well, as a manager, I want to know about any review date moving in the future, right? I want to know about any review date being moved. I want to know about a review date that's been changed 6 times, etc. There's all sorts of granularity you could go into there, and I want to build upon that system. Right now, I do have this is a kind of app layout. The client to the API gateway. So the client is only communicating through API gateway for read and write. It actually looks more like this from a design perspective. The client is communicating through the gateway. It sends in commands through the API. Each component of the system is broken down. The benefit of this is that I can actually, so it's modular monolith. The benefit of this is that I can actually swap out components if I want to. I can build on components. I can test components independently of the overall system. So if I change the way something works internally here, I don't have a knock-on effect on everything else as long as it produces the same APIs. These publish integration events, which gets published to Kafka. The GraphQL view side of things is consumed over here. The changes consumes those events, calculates the differences, and publishes out change information. The notification system is, right now I've got the ability to subscribe to a planning item. So if I say I care about this planning item, it will now publish. It will actually send. It's actually right to the inbox of the view right now. Right. It will send via MassTransit right this second a notification this way. So that's the way that's currently working. Um, and the idea is to grow on that this change calculation stuff and be able to say, okay, well, this thing changed on this entity. Um, a person wants to know, right? So if a user is assigned to a planning item that wasn't previously assigned, I want to know. If a user's been reassigned, I want to know. Do I want a daily summary? Do I want push notifications? Do I want SMS even? We could do all sorts of stuff there. So the system is broken down very much like that. But yeah, and I personally feel that that is what is lacking: the ability for people to say, "Here's what I care about. Tell me more," and don't have to ask a developer, and let the developers get on with the development part of things. Okay. Okay. However, I do have to end here for today. Um, Tomorrow we will resume trying to get. I need to get that fixed. We'll resume getting this. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to hook up a store to this, hook up the GraphQL API. It's a relatively simple process overall. Um, so we have the ability to write this. So we'll write the query, get that in, get the store in there, and then wire it up. How are you banned again, Hexic? How do I get you unbanned? You need to fix Temtic. If it's a game, I'm gonna not follow Temptic's ban list because this is ridiculous. But I'm not going to try and fix that right now. I think it gives you a few minutes until you can actually talk. I don't know how to unban you from my stream. So my apologies, Temtic, Hexic. I will have a word with Temtic. I'm about to end. Um, Later on today, One Lion will be streaming. I recommend checking out his stream if you haven't been there before. If you like this sort of stuff, if you like the ability to talk about application design, development, he does a lot more design stuff as well, which is cool. Is it unbanned? Yeah, but the problem is you're not banned in my channel. You're restricted in this channel because you're banned in Temptix. That's we share the ban list. That's how it works. So you're not actually banned here. You are restricted. Then the Twitch lists aren't working properly, so I'll remove that. Yeah, I'll have him check. But anyway, I highly recommend checking out One Line if you like this sort of stuff. There is a Discord if anyone's interested. If you want to ask more questions, if you want to dig deeper into what I'm doing here, if you want to ask more specifics, I'm always happy to talk about this stuff off stream as well. So please feel free. The links are in the cards below. I will be back tomorrow. We'll get this actually displaying based upon the data. Now we've kind of made progress, and we'll carry on testing this a little bit, and then we're just going to keep building on this concept of the notifications, and we're going to build up a management screen for ourselves to say, okay, I care about planning items. I care about the review date changing on a planning item. I care about the review date going more than 20 days on the planning item. All these sorts of things will start to build out some design around creating a flexible UI for that sort of stuff. That's going to be challenging. But yeah, so for right now, we're going to raid over to Fullbots because he's the streamer that I enjoy raiding in my list right now. No, thank you for coming and hanging out. Thank you for the conversation. For those that keep an eye on the project, I'm not trying to get everyone's ideas, but again, if you feel that I'm going off track with these things, I'm always happy to listen. So yeah. So anyway, thank you all. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. I will have a stream deck tomorrow and buttons to press, which will be awesome. So Thank you for joining me. Take care. Have a good one all. I have to go to the mouse and then I have to press this and I have to press the end. There we go.